Marketing takeaways from Growth Hacker Marketing by Ryan Holiday. Let's kick it off with 12 novel ways to get customers. Number one, have an invite only feature. This is the way that Gmail took off in the beginning. Two, create hundreds of fake profiles to make your product seem popular. People tend to follow crowds, they tend to follow social proof. Reddit did this in the past. Three, cater to a single service or platform. Effectively, what you're doing is piggybacking off a platform that is much bigger, has a wider reach than your product does. PayPal did this with eBay. YouTube did it with MySpace by using embeddable codes. Launch for a small group, then expand, or what you might call land and expand. Facebook did this at Harvard, started expanding to other prestigious universities, started expanding to all universities, and eventually even expanded to children and seniors. Five, host cool events. Companies that did this include Udemy, MySpace, Tinder, and Yelp. Now, I would add that these particular methods where you're trying to get a small group and expand, or you're trying to get influential people at an event, these tend to be for things that are what we call complex contagions, things where we have network effects, or we need to see other people use the product to believe that we need to use it. It's not necessarily true for all products. So I don't want you to take away from this that all of these are universally applied. They're context dependent, particularly when you're dealing with two-sided markets or social apps. The way that those types of things spread are very different from things, say, like bottled water or certain types of consumer software or video games that are not multiplayer video games. Number six, dominate the App Store. Instagram did this, Snapchat did this. I did a bit of this when I was working in Silicon Valley, doing App Store optimization, keyword stuffing to make sure your app consistently shows up at the top in your product category. Seven, bring influential advisors and investors who then become distribution channels. So invite people to prestigious part-time positions on your board, and you may get access to bigger channels than you otherwise would. Eight, create a subdomain where a percentage of every purchase goes to a charity that the customer chooses. This is what smile.amazon.com did. You can play the charity card often as a way to generate publicity. So, for example, Lacoste changed their logo to endangered animals. Tom's donates shoes to poor people who can't afford shoes. There's all sorts of room for creativity in this space. Number nine, do PR stunts. So, for example, get a building named after you, or do what Taco Bell did, which is claim that they purchased the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. 10, create a humorous video as Dollar Shaved Club did. Our blades are effing great. And you can see that's what they did with this YouTube video, which as of right now has 28 million views. 11, create infographics and visualizations based on your internal data. So your CRM, for example, go through your list of customers, see if there are patterns. One of the easiest ways to get published in places, for example, HubSpot, is with original research, and you have access to data that other people don't. 12, create really good content. So BarkPost, for example, created an Instagram page, and instead of talking about their product, their company, they really just created memes focused around entertainment. So you could do that yourself as well. Just create content that's 100% valuable for the audience and is not so focused on self-promotion, except in a very subtle way. All right, next we're going to move on to 6 ways to reach your first group of users. So you just launched a product or service. How do we get those initial users? Number one, pitch sites you know your target customers go to. This is who we are, this is what we're doing, and this is why you should write about us. So, niche sites that are in the space that you're catering to are more likely to publish you than going to a generic publication like Forbes or MSN or something like that. Two, post on Hacker News, Quora, Reddit. Find those subreddits where you're going to get those early adopters, the nerds that are going to be very interested in what you're selling and what you're releasing. Three, write blog posts about popular topics, so trending topics, for example, like AI, and indirectly promote your product. So the centerpiece is the content, the journalism, the education, but then you sort of embed your pitch as a Trojan horse within that content. Four, Kickstarter or Indiegogo. You could bribe your first users with prizes so that they are going to help fund your project. Well, they're going to get a VIP access for life, or they're going to get a free T-shirt, something like that. Five, Haro, help a reporter out. Can't say enough good things about this. This is an easy way to get published in major publications. You just receive about 3 emails per day, not on weekends, from journalists looking to get quotes from experts, and you could be that expert. You can get those backlinks to your website. Six, find customers one by one and invite them to your service for free with some special incentive. I did this when I was promoting veterinary software. I invited the top veterinary influencers, the top podcasters to get a free VIP pass, and I even gave a lot of them a dictation microphone for free. And this is done manually. I didn't use a whole lot of cold email automation software. There wasn't a proven process for this. It was just manually reaching out to those influential people. All right, now let's talk a bit about virality because that can really stimulate some growth hacking. And there's a lot of misunderstanding around virality. So, only a specific type of product or business or piece of content will go viral. It not only has to be worth spreading, it has to provoke a desire to people to spread it. So, not everything that people like or find entertaining or interesting are things that they share. They tend to share certain types of things. Often it's things that make them look good, so make them seem funny or educational or informative. So, you have to appeal to people's self interest. And sometimes self interest just means paying them, giving them a referral fee. And that's what we see here. Refer a friend and get $10. Lots of companies employ this method, and it's effective, especially when you're dealing with sort of these cheaper consumer products. You could also just say, hey, you're going to get this deal for free if you share it with 5 friends and they sign up, something like that. Now, you want to provide powerful incentives to share. If you want to learn more about how this whole process happens with virality, I recommend the book Contagious: Why Things Catch On by Wharton professor Dr. Jonah Berger. But let's dive into some of the details here. Packaging can be designed to be more interesting and shareable. A good example of this is Liquid Death. Wow, what a dramatic name for a water company. And they use really dramatic imagery like pick videos of zombies climbing up, and you see this skull on one of their cans. So it's very dramatic. It's very word of mouthy. It's things people want to talk about. It's over the top. It's PR worthy. There's a company in New Zealand, a pizza chain, that does this whole death theme. It's dramatic because it generates word of mouth. Now, when I did package design, I remember designing, helping develop the packaging and branding for this company that created supplements for arthritis and eye care, etc. And we went with a completely different design. We hired this excellent painter in Russia to create the stunning imagery in the 1950s style. Is unlike anything you would ever see in a supplement, but it was word of mouth worthy. Experiences and amenities can be curated to encourage memorability and word of mouth. So, for example, perhaps you have somebody attending your hotel, staying at your hotel. Well, what if you give them some over the top service? Or maybe somebody had one of your customers had a catastrophe recently and you decided to buy them a new house or help them rebuild their roof. These types of things can generate word of mouth, and it can help you with PR stories as well by catering to the customer experience. Share worthy topics. There are certain topics that are share worthy. So, for example, there's the store that has within it a hidden lounge for kids to play while parents shop. So that's the kind of thing parents talk about with one another. So this spreads virally through word of mouth because it's unique, it's surprising, it's interesting. Another example, Apple's headphones are white instead of black, and Apple also gives away stickers with their logo on it. So basically what Apple's doing is they're turning everybody into a walking advertisement. You also notice they put the logo on the back of their monitor, not so you can see it as the customer, but so other people can see, hey, there's an Apple laptop. It's more visible, it's more viral, it's something, hey, maybe I should consider. And when most headphones were black, well, they didn't really stand out. But when you see a pure white one, you tend to associate it with the Apple brand. TurboTax has this feature where once you get your refund, there's an option to tweet to say that you got a refund by using it. Coinbase does something similar. They have a tweet in the checkout process that says, I just bought 1 Bitcoin at Coinbase. And then there's a link to Coinbase. Dropcam makes it easy to share clips made with their camera. So you can see that a lot of growth hacking is really about elements of the product or the packaging of the product that is worthy of sharing, worthy of talking about. Dropbox, get free space for sharing. So with advertising, they would chart it was going to cost them around $233 to $388 to acquire a subscriber. But what they found was the economics was much better when they just gave people free space as an incentive to get them to share it with other people. And then you get this viral effect. Wealthfront. Get an extra $5,000 managed for free by using this pre written email or social post that you can push out to get other people in your network to sign up for Wealthfront. Now, people don't just randomly start sharing about brands and getting people to sign up for your product. I mean, they're not your employees, you're not paying them. So there has to be a compelling reason for a community to take hold of it and pass it around. It has to be the kind of thing that people want to share and feel good about sharing. So, for example, your friend gets free credits for something. Well, okay, maybe you want to share that with them. Now, one of the keys here is to understand how to reach product market fit, which is really when you realize, okay, this is the target market that is going to resonate for my product. I have people that are willing to pay for it. And in my opinion, before you reach this stage, there's really a lot of random experimentation, and you're not necessarily all that strategic about things until you reach product market fit. So, some quote here is you want to make something people want. And a lot of research can be done in the beginning to sort of figure out, well, what problems are people having? What solutions are they searching for? What keywords are they searching for? Where is the demand? And then we can service the demand. Make the product so good, people recommend it to their friends. That's what we're aiming for here. So, my thought is try a bunch of random things, see what sticks. Don't try to be too strategic in the beginning of your business. Strategy is overrated because you have no real market data in the beginning. And I've seen this time and time again. People that spend years developing products, they release it into the market, it falls flat, the market doesn't want it. And why? Because it wasn't developed with the market. It wasn't designed around how people were actually going to use it in the real world. It wasn't designed to create value in the real world. It was designed in an ivory tower somewhere, based on hypotheticals about what the market desires. So, for example, with me, I have a second YouTube channel where I just do a bunch of random product reviews and I see what sticks. And it so happens that this one I did of my Bang& Olufsen headphones was one of the most popular videos in my early stages of this channel. And so I did a second one with this. I re-released this video and invested more money in getting it edited. I added affiliate links so that people end up buying these expensive headphones as a result of watching my video. This wasn't a strategic thought, hey, I'm going to make a video that does luxury electronics reviews. It was, I'm just going to try a bunch of things. I'm going to see where I get traction, and then I'm going to invest more where the traction is achieved. Instagram started as a location based social platform called Burn, and then they saw that everyone was flocking to the photos and filters feature. And basically, that's what Instagram ended up becoming, a photos and filters social media platform. You want to start with a minimum viable product and improve it based on feedback that comes to us from Eric Rees. So, a lot of success when it comes to product market fit is just getting it out there so that people start giving you feedback. I find with my courses sometimes in the past, I've released them, I've gotten really bad reviews. So, one of my most popular courses had a rating of around 3.5, which was absolutely atrocious. But I took all the feedback, I listened to the questions, I looked at what are the lectures that people are bookmarking, what are the ones they're abandoning, and now it's has over a 4.5 rating and continues to make money to this day, even years later. So that's the value of putting a minimum viable product out there and then optimizing later. Books that fail are where the author goes into a cave for a year to write it. Instead of doing something like blogging extensively before publishing and sort of seeing, well, what blogs are the most popular? Which ones are the ones getting the most comments? And you can see here that I do the same thing when I publish courses. I can see, for example, this lecture has gotten 77 bookmarks. Okay, people are interested in this lecture. Let's make sure that it's near the beginning of the course so people can get more value out of it. Okay, a lot of people are dropping this lecture. Maybe the sound cut out. Maybe there's scratching in the background. Maybe it's just not a good tutorial. Maybe I need to get rid of it, edit it, refine it, whatever. Another suggestion is you can get people to crowd edit your product. So you could distribute it to 200 people and say, hey, how would you change this? Or you could go on Kickstarter and get feedback from early adopters. There's all sorts of ways to employ this. You could even just pay a whole bunch of people on Fiverr to give you input. Or you could go on Sentiment and get panel data. All right, some tools to get to product market fit. Crazy Egg is this tool that gives you heat maps and scroll maps. So on your website, for example, you can see people where they're clicking, where they're going down to, what they're looking at. You have Usability Hub, which can be used to recruit test audiences. Qualaroo, a way to ask visitors for feedback. There's all sorts of tools you could do with pop-ups and things to get feedback from users, and of course, Google Forms. Cheaply test your concept, improve it based on feedback, then launch. To be successful and grow your business and revenues, you must match the way you market your product with the way your prospects learn about and shop for your products. That comes from a HubSpot founder. So, a good example of this is Salesforce App Exchange or apps.com. People go here to discover new apps that integrate with Salesforce. So, that's one place you probably want to be, where you want to have a lot of App Store optimization, where you're showing up at the top of listings here in the right categories based on the right searches. You don't need to be in the New York Times, just the New York Times of your niche. Now, this is particularly important in the very beginning, right? Because you don't need a lot of customers in the beginning. You just need early customers. Those early adopters are going to be in niche groups. So, niche groups are the subreddit for QuickBooks, they're going to be on Product Hunt, they're going to be on websites you've never heard of that only super nerds and super fans are going to go to. Get the early adopters. The important question at launch is not how can we reach as many people as possible? It is who are our early adopters and where can we find them? And then later you can worry about the late adopters and going for wide reach, etc. So Product Hunt, hardcore early adopters. Our marketing and PR efforts should, at the beginning, simply reach out and capture the attention of the highly interested, loyal, and fanatical members of the tribe we belong to. So, why wouldn't you pick the lowest hanging fruit first? They could be on a Facebook group, they could be people that follow an influencer that's in your space. Find out where they're hiding. Another PR Another growth hack is to use PR worthy stories. So, for example, there's this barber who offered discounts for kids who read in their chair while he cuts their hair. This is a feel good story, spreads like crazy among parents until ultimately it gets picked up by CNN. There's a restaurant that tied the pricing of its Wednesday specials to the price of a barrel of oil. And in this case, they're catering to oil and gas workers, so that makes perfect sense. You can pitch prospects directly. So in the beginning, sometimes people are a little too obsessed. Well, how do we scale this? How do we get more people? How do we automate this? How do we use AI for this? But in the beginning, no, don't worry about that. Just do it manually. Talking one on one to people, getting them to sign up, find out what the roadblocks are, what's holding them back from buying, what's holding them back from trying, go to events, meet people person to person, even go door to door if necessary in certain places like south of Market Street in San Francisco. You might meet people in cafes, etc. Referrals from other businesses are also very critical to success in a lot of cases. For example, this pool cleaning person was the only pool cleaner who put a business card at the pool supply store. So if a lot of people are congregating at the pool supply store, the people that own pools, why not use that as a referral channel? Airbnb did this cool little growth hack where what they did was they made it easy to post simultaneously on Airbnb and Craigslist. So effectively, what they did was they hijacked Craigslist and converted it into a free distribution channel using an integration. PayPal did something similar. They created a buyer bot that emailed eBay sellers to ask if they could use PayPal and then purchase the item if the seller was willing. So basically, creating the sense among the sellers that, hey, everybody wants to pay with this thing called PayPal. I've never heard of it, but I better start offering it because customers want it. And they do end up paying. Focus on customer acquisition over awareness for the first year or two. So this is similar advice what you'll hear from Jason Lemkin of SaaStr, for example, is that demand generation, customer acquisition, performance marketing, tends to be more important in the very beginning where you need to get quick results, you need low-hanging fruit, you need sales coming in right away. And then later you can start investing in the long term, which is going to be more about the brand, more about broad reach. Many startups owe success to integrations with big platforms. Example I have here is Spotify, which integrated into the Facebook feed. Now, one of the big challenges people have, especially with software, especially with product-led growth, is many people create accounts and never come back to the software again. Now, the key here is to figure out, okay, well, what are the key things we need to get them to do after they create an account, after they sign up, or after they log in? Twitter, it's when a user manually selected 5 to 10 accounts to follow or friend on the first day. That's when they're significantly more likely to stick around. When I was working for a Google Accelerator startup, I found that when users completed a certain number of transcriptions, I don't remember what it was, I think it was around 11, they were far more likely to become customers because that's when they saw the value of the product. There was a significant drop off at that point in a good way. Zynga. The key was D1 users, those who came back after the first day of trying out one of their games. Dropbox. The key was dragging at least one file into the Dropbox folder. And what I would say is that overall, basically, what you're doing is you're distinguishing between an MQL, a marketing qualified lead, and a PQL, a product qualified lead. So it's actually very easy for marketers to get people to sign up for a demo, a free trial, etc. The hard part is getting them engaged enough that they see the value, and that's really what a PQL is. And how you define a PQL is really going to vary based on what the product is, like what needs to happen for them to see the value, to have that wow moment. Airbnb had made this adjustment, not a conventional marketing adjustment, more of a kind of a combination of product and marketing and business to business marketing and B2C marketing. And that's really what made it a growth hack was they offered free professional photography for listings. And you can see that this kind of creative thinking can have exponential effects. It can have multiple benefits. So this increased the conversion rate because the quality of the listings looks much better. It increases the price you can charge because the listings look better. You establish a deeper relationship with the homeowners, your partners. You're establishing quality assurance because you're a photographer going into the apartments and improving the quality of the photos. So the product, the physical product, as well as the software product. And you also get positive publicity as a result of doing something like this that can help spread word of mouth. Another example of growth hack is one of Tim Ferriss's book, where he took a bundle of free content from the book and gave it away to BitTorrent's 170 million members. Now, one of the things is even if you're charging just $20 for your book, it's kind of hard to go viral, right? Because people got to pay, they got to go through the checkout, or they got to go to the store and buy it. But if you have something that's free, a bundle of content, that's much easier to go viral. Now, I just want to wrap up here by giving some classic examples of growth hacks. These are some of the prototypical ones that people talk about: Hotmail, Gmail, Dropbox, Blackberry, and iPhone. And I just want you to think about, okay, this is what worked in the past, but maybe there's some creative new ideas we can come up with for whatever your product is. So let's walk through here. With Hotmail, PS, I love you. Get your free email at Hotmail. This generated 1 million users in 6 months, and those results kept snowballing. Gmail, invite only, spreading from person to person. Dropbox, sign up to a waiting list to be invited to join, and they promoted it with a fun demo video showing the service to drive signups. They posted that video on Reddit, Dig, Slashdot, uh, with jokes, allusions, references, all of these designed to cater to those niche communities. iPhone does the classic sent from my iPhone, and BlackBerry did the classic sent from my BlackBerry. All sorts of ways to generate virality to achieve growth hacking.